Hey everyone, Jamie and Daniel here,
Hello.
and we are going to be starting on Wellness Wednesday. So happy Wednesday, everybody! Happy Wednesday, Daniel.
Happy Wednesday.
Thank you. Today, what are we talking about?
We are answering an important question about nutrition, that is whey protein. Is it ultra processed? When I mean whey protein, I mean any sort of protein powder. It could be whey, it could be vegan, any type of plants that we can buy. So a lot of people use that. Right? I consume that too. Do you?
I do not. No.
Okay, Jamie doesn't. Okay, and I'm sure he has good reasons for that. So let's discuss, is it ultra processed? So simple, to get started, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, it is ultra processed. Because if you look at, even if you just look at the protein powder as is, right, it's very processed, the same as a sugar, right? If you're looking at it, you can't really tell that it has come from, say, whey protein coming from milk, right? It's a powdery, same substance as, say, like a flour or those things, right? So it would fall in the same category, though, is some are less processed than others. Of course, you can get a higher processed, a worse protein powder than a better one. We can give some recommendations as well, probably in this video too, but we wanted to kind of discuss, okay, like how processed is it and which ones, like where do you get and what, like why would you consume protein powder?
Yeah, do you need it?
Yes.
Is it good for you? There are certain levels of processing. Just we can start by establishing here what are processed foods. Certain levels. If we take whey protein, that's made of milk, so the raw ingredient would be milk, unprocessed. We have a lot of different products made from milk that we consider they're minimally processed or processed, but it's still good for you, like yogurt.
Yep.
Right? Do you consume yogurt?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. And then
Lactose free.
Greek yogurt is some sort of concentrate protein product as well.
Yeah.
It's made by filtering and removing the water. So there's certain levels of processing that is still, we consider those whole foods.
Yes. All right. So yeah, there's some things that are processed. Like, just to explain process. So if I were to take an apple, it's unprocessed, right? Because it's an apple. If I cut that apple in half, it has now been processed, right? Obviously very minimal processed because I just cut it in half, and then you kind of get more and more processed as you go down. When we're talking about hyper processed or those type of things, or a higher or highly processed, you probably heard that. So processed food is not necessarily bad depending on what we talk about. But when you get into hyper or high processed foods, that's what you want to stay away from. Because just as an example, for instance, when you process food, you're basically just taking parts of the food and condensing it, right? When you do that, I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, a stick of butter, right? So 1 pound of butter, right, is 22 pounds of milk, right? It's very easy to consume 1 pound of butter, right? So you take that energy from 22 pounds of milk, which there's no way anyone here would drink that in one sitting, but you could basically, again, if you have like a stick of fudge or you have a tray of fudge, that has at least 1 pound of butter within it, right? Or pound cake and those type of things. So you're consuming that much energy from, again, 22 pounds of milk, right? So when you take food and you condense it down, you're condensing the amount of calories and things that are in the food. So it's easy to overeat a lot of the time. Like it has either like a processed meat, right? They add in a lot of sodium, a lot of salt to make sure that it doesn't go bad, where that brings your sodium level up. So it's easy to overconsume sodium in that case. Same with candy, it's easy to overconsume sugar in that case, right? Nuts is another one too, right? Overconsuming fat. So that's what we want to talk about, is that's what process means.
Usually we do that, well, like you mentioned, to preserve food, to make it possible to produce and transport and store in fridges and in grocery stores. And another good reason is to have one specific ingredient that we need more. And in this case, you were talking about the protein. So we could start by making that decision, thinking about, do we need extra protein in our diet? So can we have enough protein by eating whole foods, our everyday food? Is it possible?
Yes.
What do you mean?
It is, because I'm here.
And,
I have
and
enough protein.
is it possible to get it all from plants?
Yes.
Enough? Okay, yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's possible to have enough to have a healthy and functional body. And then that will vary depending on your needs, depending on your goals, such as weight loss, health issues, or if you're an athlete or if you're a bodybuilder, like if you want to lose fat versus gain muscle, that will change your needs of a certain nutrient like protein.
Yes. And you have to be careful too. So I know there's a lot of people who are younger who get into the gym and they start consuming protein powders, say protein bars, protein, like 3 chicken breasts in one sitting, right? So if you get to a point where you can overconsume protein, right? And overconsumption of protein is actually very dangerous for the body. It can cause a lot of kidney and liver issues because your body has to process that. And if you overconsume it, it's actually quite dangerous. So to Daniel's point, you have to make sure you are consuming the amount that you need, right? You do have a pretty good variation within, again, protein. Normally you want like 0.8 right, grams per kilogram of body weight, up to 2 grams of kilograms per body weight. So you don't, you should not go over 2. 2 I would say is quite high. That is like what bodybuilders and stuff do to maintain the muscle mass that they have. Some probably go over that depending on what you're using that protein for. And our body doesn't necessarily use protein as energy. It can use protein as energy. There's certain diets and certain ways you can do that, but protein is more for everything else in the body. Like it helps with your immune system. It helps with your immune system, your muscles, right? Making sure that it helps carry things through the body. So there's just an overall
bone mass, cartilage, there are enzymes,
hormones,
immune
it's a
system.
huge one.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yep, and then the type of protein too that you're intaking is important too, right? There's 9 essential proteins, and we can get into that another time. But you want to make sure that you're getting that in, and necessarily from say whey protein or pea protein, right? Are you getting that 9 essential proteins, or are you just over consuming protein powder just to get protein in, right? And I find a lot of people just are not educated with why. Like why do you need more protein, right? So those are the things that you should ask yourself is, okay, why am I wanting to have protein powder, right? Am I having protein powder to lose weight? If you are, then sometimes you'll gain weight from it, right? So you want to make sure that you are strategically placing that protein powder in your everyday lifestyle or diet to make sure that it does help you with the goal that you have. So the first question is why?
Yeah, there's a trend. One of those whys is right now I believe it's because there is a trend. And we go through lots of diet trends, and sometimes because even government agencies justify it. So we go back a few decades, we had things like fat was the enemy. And then we started having a lot of low fat or no fat products in the market, and everybody was going for no fat.
Yep.
And that it looks like the new products and the marketing from those created a new need that nobody needed before for low fat products. And then we had low carb, and then there was a lot of low carb products in the market. We have gluten free. Even when people don't have any intolerance, they were looking for gluten-free products. And those, so most of the times, I think there was a new product in the market that created the need for that. And with marketing and advertising, everybody was certainly thinking that they needed that.
Yes.
Now we have the protein. It looks like everybody's looking for protein powder, protein bars, everything. And the other day I went to Costco and they have a high protein coffee beans.
Huh.
I just saw that at Costco last week.
How?
Right. So we have to think about how much you need and why, and again, like Jamie said, place it strategically in your diet, knowing that it's a shortcut and when you should be focused on whole foods first.
Yes.
And then we can talk.
If you need a little extra boost and stuff, it's the same thing as if somebody takes a multivitamin, right? So for myself, I take a multivitamin. I usually just take one multivitamin per day. It recommends 3. That's just in case I don't get my nutrients, my micronutrients through the day, right? So if I don't get, say, a lot of B12 in that day through food, my body's covered and it has a little bit of that in that multivitamin. I think that people should use, if they're using protein powder, it's with the same thing, right? Like a protein powder is not a meal replacement. You should never use it as a meal replacement. I know some people they do a protein shake and they use that as a way to, again, very convenient, okay, I'm gonna make a protein shake and move on to the next meal, right? So you should be using it strategically, like, okay, I need this amount of protein in a day. This is a kind of a shortcut or an easy way to make sure that I have it. So again, maybe not using a full scoop, maybe just a little bit on food while you're cooking or in smoothies and stuff, just a little bit.
So I do usually I put a full scoop, but make 3 or 4 containers of my smoothies with berries and nuts and seeds that I bring. So in the end, each of those probably has a tablespoon, so it's just a little boost. And with that comes also the choice, if you choose to consume it, which one you pick. And then we can bring other factors like the behavior, how those foods affect your behavior. So we have whey protein that is unflavored and unsweetened, right? So it doesn't become hyper palatable. It's actually, those things become difficult to consume. And we have the vegan protein, unflavored and unsweetened. If you take the flavored versions with sweeteners, those are ultra processed for sure and hyper palatable. So they will change your behavior. You will consume even more of that. The vegan protein is actually a little bit hard to consume because it doesn't taste amazing. It adds a weird flavor and texture to your smoothie, so you have to mix with fruits probably. But at that point you're good. Vegan protein also has more nutrients because it has a lot of different plants and adds some fiber as well, which is important. And whey protein is good. It has all the essential amino acids, but it has 0 fiber and not many other benefits, right? Other than the protein itself. So I have to choose, go for the unflavored and unsweetened because then it doesn't change your behavior toward food.
Yeah, and if you want like a flavor within it, right? Adding, like Daniel was saying, into a smoothie or something with other fruits. Like for instance, I don't know, if you want like a peach flavored one, you put the normal protein, the non-flavored and stuff, and then you add in your own peach, right? Or something like that. Like you can add it in, you can make it into, again, a smoothie or even just kind of like a parfait or something, maybe with some chia seeds and stuff like that. And then also too, I know that a lot of people, especially with like milk and stuff, some people have an intolerance to the protein that's found in milk. A lot of time that can cause inflammation in certain people. Even the sugar that's found in whey protein or in milk can also cause some, again, swelling or discomforts and stuff like that. So if you have whey, like just watch, because if you do have whey protein sometimes, in some cases, in some people, it does cause some issues where the vegan protein that's usually derived from like a pea protein, or pea protein is probably the most common one. So that usually processes easier in your body and doesn't cause all the inflammation or things. Some people it doesn't affect them at all. So if you are just kind of like, if you already have, say, like that protein, the whey protein, and you notice that your stomach is bloated or you feel very stiff or swelled up, it could be from that as well, right? So it may be switching the type of protein as well that you're eating. But yeah, consuming all natural ingredients for protein is always good.
Be careful, watch your meals to see how much protein from other foods you're having in each meal, and see if you really have a need for more.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you're consuming more than you can process, that will just lead to more weight gain and some maybe some health issues, especially related to the kidneys.
Yeah, and normally too, you're in one sitting, your body usually can only absorb about 20 to 30 grams of protein, give or take what your activities are. Could probably do a little bit more if you're bodybuilding or have a lot of muscle mass, but that's a good reference point, right? So if you have a chicken breast, one chicken breast would be about between 20 and 30 grams of protein.
Yeah, or even less, maybe half of a chicken breast.
Yeah, that's very
100 grams, you have 20-25 grams of protein.
Yeah.
If you are having a scoop of protein powder after that, it's already too much.
With it, yeah, so it's too much. Yeah.
There's no benefit from it.
Yeah, so basically there's a lot of time that people are using the protein powder in a way that you don't necessarily need more protein in your diet, depending on what you're eating and stuff. So a lot of times I see that people are buying the protein powder, they're consuming it, and then they're just basically eating it down the toilet a lot of the time. So again, it could be, in a sense, a waste of money, because depending on what you're eating, you could be getting in the protein that your body needs already, right? And then you're just using that as an extra, which a lot of the time you don't necessarily need more. And then, like Daniel said, it can actually make it so you gain weight, because if you have too much protein in your body, then your body will just store it, same as if you have too much sugar, it will store it as fat. That's why it's hard on the kidneys, is because it turns it into fat, right? If you have too much, then it's just hard for your body to kind of make that conversion. And that's where, yeah.
Question is like, would you recommend protein powder in any situation?
Yeah, in some situations I would, depending on what the person is looking for, right? If the person is looking for a little bit of extra protein, right? Especially when getting older, if you're not getting in the protein that your body needs within a day right now with food, then it's good to get that protein into your lifestyle. But you want to make that transition over to whole foods and making sure you're eating and consuming the foods that you want, right? So that's the only time really that I would recommend it, is kind of as a transition thing, right? So same as a lot of different stuff kind of used to help lose weight and then transition into whole foods. But again, if you're not having enough protein, it's a good, quick, easy way to get more in at the beginning, and then learning, okay, how much protein do I have in this meal? How do I get protein in? A lot of people don't realize that you can get protein from plants. Plant-based stuff. So for instance, just as an idea, like 1 cup of broccoli, cooked broccoli, would be about 8 grams of protein, right? But people don't think of that, they just think of the meat, like the chicken and stuff that are higher protein. So yeah, so just I would recommend it for transitioning into getting more protein.
We don't need to be like totally against it, in extreme, black and white. Certain cases it's good. If the benefits you get from it outweigh whatever health problems you're gonna have by not taking it, like weight loss, for example. If you have a lot of body fat that you really need to lose, because all that body fat is turning into visceral fat and leading to inflammation and risk of heart disease.
Yeah.
While and protein can help you lose that weight, well, then yes, do whatever you can to have that extra protein, to adjust your diet, to lose that body fat, reduce the risk of diseases, even if it's not ideal, even if it's not whole foods. You go for what you need. So it all depends on your goals.
Yes, your why.
Yeah, your why.
Your why should be the first thing you ask yourself. Why are you needing this, or why are you doing that? And then but at the end, everything should lead to a nice, balanced, whole food diet.
Ideally, yeah.
That's ideally
sometimes it's not ideal, so we have those options, those shortcuts. Just
the
be
shortcuts.
Careful. Don't go just because it's a trend, just because everybody is consuming. Sometimes you don't need it. But if you need to learn more, if you want to get educated on this subject, we are here to help.
I'd love to talk about it, as you can.
Yeah. We can keep talking about this for hours, but for now, I think that's it for today.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
If you have questions, you can drop your comments. We will answer all the questions. If you want new videos about specific subject, just let us know. And we are certified nutritionists, and I'm also certified in behavior changing. So I love that.
There you go.
Behavioral aspect. Of foods,
especially with nutrition. Behavior is very
reach out. We have lots of options to discuss.
Awesome. If you have questions too about this actual video, down below, and maybe your question will help somebody else out as well. So definitely comment that question. We'll do our best to answer any questions that you guys have. But Yeah, we'll see you next week on Wellness Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday.